Today is day 7, December 2022. We will kind of have a conversation, quite simple, quite clear. Credit protection, reasons by law, model, creditor with legitimacy to act. We will use something here, kind of an introduction, I would say, using our space as private space and instruments that sometimes has no connection with nothing, despite informations there got accessed or lifted by some way. We will first have some simple words. What do you want? Let's suppose that this is a dialogue and I receive a question. What do you like in one specific person? Let's suppose I like you because you are crazy. A daredevil, has courage, has my admiration and respect. By things you did deserved my attention. In some way is part of my life and other things. Is it enough? Courage is rare, but you are unique. So here we are. Now you can cry and some other issues here. We now will have our risk report 2022 December, and it's kind of a bit longer, has 4 pieces. We'll have this posted beside the previous video at the US judicial theory for judicial punishment. We will observe that the first thing, each abusive act goes by one chair on institution. In each procedure is a sequence of abusive acts. As an abusive procedure, all abusive procedure has signatures on it, and this cluster the group of offenders. This is the first thing that we will have on mind. The second thing that we will have on mind is that the payroll indeed will highlight those groups a bit more, because it is oriented against institution that has the stamp -1 by failures inside, and goes until the entire conjunct or mobilization for criminal purpose. Then we observe that the model is quite simple. We will have the model like this. You have your institution. Inside your institution, you have the offenders or the criminals, that are the chairs. This is the design that we have. If we put this divided, we will have different moments at the same thing. It's a sequence. And it's a sequence of something illegal, confirming the abusive procedure as something illegal made by, a design illegal, which is a structure. We observe that all models exposed can prove that the trust is a system of suppression and exploitation. Sometimes will impact our life, will impact things we do in our private space. And those areas will have a difficult time as having legal accomplishment with things that they not respect or believe. We will have violation of basic rights, civil rights, human rights, violations against the person, the personality, and sometimes humanity crimes, crimes against mankind, and others. We will check that the organized crime is all about suffering, disgrace, destruction, and this model here, as something with offenders inside the institution, will lead to the organized crime, and it's divided by lines and columns. Indeed, is a matrix or something that you consider lines as level and columns chairs. You can consider like this. Indeed, you will have this cross cut here. Lines and columns in the target, or you can consider the level and the chair having the target as misguided thing -1 inside your institution. Now your control is working. And if I'm doing independent effort, it means that never worked until this time. The blind association is a problem on some directories, not only United States. We will have kind of the judicial rules here and observe that some scratches, sometimes by the trail that you must walking through, will kind of stamp some registries, I'd say, or things on your memory for a long time, maybe forever. And I'm gonna do the legal protection of what's mine, in general the credit. And we will observe that, for instance, if I can, and I must protect the credit, and I will consider do the derogatory use, for instance, by equity based on 10 years of proofs against the trust and the operation from trust that affects or impacts the diffuser area in some way impacts me, and having the weakness sometimes at the institution or the not properly time to offer a solution, I will consider that by the preamble of the American Constitution and the Brazilian Constitution, Article 1, Item Clause 4 and 4, Clause 9, I will maybe have the legitimacy to present at least the argument to the judicial system have, from these reasons by law, the order, as for instance, strike or hit in the limits of the law, the violation of secrecy. And the violation of secrecy is something serious, especially if it goes on your private and space and very inside your intimacy field, which is the last moral reservation that you have. Sometimes the intimacy has only your sexual life, sexual preference, or secrets that you carry with you. Some of them are industrial secrets, some of them are judicial secrets, some of them are your sexual life, your affairs that you have. And then you got so curious, violate so many things, and cross this last line as moral reservation, you prove it. The violation as industrial secrets, secrecy, judicial secrecy, and others. And you must suffer the consequence. It's valid by the whole of the law, Brazil, USA, and it's the main idea at this moment. Have this on mind. We will consider that it's equally proven the criminal intent in the previous moment. Now we are qualifying your criminal intent as the object, as the trust. And the antitrust justice is all about this, concerned with you. The order is under the judicial secrets, the reasons by law, equally some exposed here. And we observe that we had the credit protection, which is against the trust. We had the reasons by law. We had our model. We observe that the levels and columns, oriented by value -1, sometimes you will have the -1 as value that must now be divided into groups. Indeed, the line and columns give me a matrix, -1. And this matrix, -1, I will have the groups plea bargain and the group's infiltrated officers. The infiltrated officers that got at the court or at the judicial system will be rewarded, and the plea bargain will obtain a benefit and a minor punishment. Quite simple to get the idea. We finish our conversation here. Indeed, this issue is pretty much closed. All orders expected. We are offering the reasons. Indeed, we had in the afternoon to you present your reasons, judicial power. Have a great week.